Welcome back to the Triple Thread Podcast. I'm Lamar.
And I'm Joey.
And we're welcoming today our VIP, very important podcaster, Jake, Pastor Jake, Jacob Ferguson.
Jacob. Very excited to be here.
We're excited to have you.
Man, we're so excited. Jake, we know a lot about you. Joe, this is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Because Jake has been with us here in ministry for 7 years. True story. I'll just get it out here. All right. When I saw his resume that was sent to me, literally 8 years ago, we'll call it. Remember that?
Oh, at least 8 years ago. Yeah.
I literally was getting ready to wad it up and throw it in the trash can. I really was. Mm-hmm. And Dolly King said, Pastor, you may want to look at that again. And so God had a plan.
In all fairness, it was a cold call, so he wasn't expecting it. And so it was a shot in the dark. So I wouldn't blame him if he did throw it in the trash. I mean, it was a cold call, so I wouldn't blame him.
But God won the day, and he and Nikki and their children have been incredible assets here at Baraka, the place of blessing. So Jake, kind of dive in and kind of give us a rundown, starting with Middletown and all the way up to kind of present day, and just kind of a snapshot of your life, because we'll dive off from there.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious! How do I tape together those Polaroids to get that snapshot? So. Well, first off, I'm excited to be here and to talk with you guys, and also with everyone out there. It's awesome, and anytime I can share my story, because it has God written all over it. It has my brokenness at the helm, but really what caused all that was my brokenness and God stepping in and making it all for His glory. So let me just start off with that, because everything that I was doing was really requiring God to step in and fix everything. So. So I grew up here in Middletown. I'm a Middletown native, born and raised, born in Middletown Hospital. And so I grew up here, and I grew up in Old Town Apartments. I grew up over on the Nell Bar, near Skateway area, and went to Middletown schools, graduated from Middletown High School in 2003 with J.D. Hamill at the time.
Hung out with J.D. Hamill.
Yes.
Hillbilly Elegy J.D. Hamill.
It wasn't Vance at the time.
J.D.
I didn't know
Vice
this.
President Vance.
It was Hamill.
I didn't know this.
So him and I grew up together. Lived in Old Town apartments together, as a matter of fact. And
CBS Crew came in this last year to talk to him. He was on national television.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wasn't my option.
Yeah, it wasn't. No, but it was about you growing up with J.D.
It was.
That's cool.
It was. We did grow up together. We did hang out a lot together and everything. Obviously, going to Vail together, going to Middletown High School together.
Vail.
Rip
Vail Bulldogs.
It was
First class there.
Miss it, but it was also it was an experience too.
Yeah.
So growing up here, I did everything that Middletonians would do. You kind of hang out, go to Sunset Park. You go to play basketball and all the different basketball courts everywhere. Sure. But I didn't excel in the school realm. In fact, if I went to school, I didn't excel very well at all. So generally, I kind of did my own thing, didn't like authority. I was all about, what can I do? What's my next side hustle? What am I going to get involved in? And so all growing up throughout school, I was always around the people, what does the church call it here? The lost, lonely, and left out.
Yeah.
So I was one of them, and that's who I hung with. So, I got myself into a lot of different trouble, but I was not your good grade student. I was not your stand-up student. I wasn't going to be valedictorian. I may or may not have made it to graduation. Luckily, I did. But I was the kind of person who's like, okay, what can I get into? And so, I got involved in drugs, and I got involved in poor decision making. I got involved with all the wrong people, and I love sports, and I was active. Felt like I was athletic, but I had to start working at a very young age. I started working in a bar at 13.
Oh,
yeah, I know. True story. True story. I was a bar back. Worked in the reason, funny story. So the reason I had to start working in a bar, my mom was the manager of the bar. But the reason I had to start working is because at the age of 13, I got sued.
Did she? What?
Yeah.
13.
Hold on, wait, walk that back. So your mom is the manager of the bar. Did she do an interview or just say you're going to work?
Nope.
Okay.
I had to work because I was sued. And as you know, with 13, I'm a minor. I can't be sued. My parents got sued.
Oh, wow.
I got sued for, I don't know, what was it, $3,000? So I prank called a guy for a year straight. Every day, multiple times a day. I drove this man insane. And
Did you know this man?
Not at all. But it was the same man. We call me and a couple of my buddies, but me mostly. And we prank called the same guy for a year. You know what he did? He ended up getting his phone tapped. and that the lawsuit was for us to pay it back.
Oh my
So you
goodness.
can find out who it was.
Oh my goodness.
And so guess what? At 13 years old, my mom's like, "Well, you're going to pay us back, and you're going to do that by
enough.
cleaning all the glassware in the bar."
Good for mom.
And I worked at that place till I was 18.
I prank called. Praise God, never got sued.
Never got caught. Never got caught.
Don't do it for a year straight.
You
Learn
can't
from me.
prank call now.
No, you
No,
can't.
no,
The young people today
They
don't
don't even know.
even
No.
appreciate
It was so
the
much
beauty
fun.
of
You can't
prank
star
calling.
84 no more. You can't do none of that.
Yeah, party lines. That, you
It's-
may not know about that. We know party lines.
Yeah.
So again, just fullest decision making. And my parents, they were divorced, and they divorced when I was 7 years old, and so kind of from 7 years old on, to teen years, it was very rocky at best, and living was a little difficult at times, and then I was living with my mom for a time. I won't say exactly how. However, we kind of went without for a little while. And my mom finally got back up on her feet after the divorce, and I lived with my mom mostly for the remainder of throughout the week and everything. She took me to school. She was more or less my guardian, and then finally I started building a relationship back with my dad a little bit, and so basically I lived pleasantry to pleasantry. I lived pursuit after pursuit. If I didn't have a pleasantry or a pursuit to follow, I felt void. I was an empty kid. And if I didn't have something to pursue, that's why I was always pursuing something, a pleasantry, I felt empty. And so that was my childhood. I'm talking all the way till I was 18 years old. But it was interesting, when I went to Middletown, I had a good buddy of mine. His name was Philip Ferguson. No relation.
Jacob Ferguson.
To Jacob Ferguson here.
The Ferguson clan.
He was some other clan, I'm sure, probably the better clan.
The Ferguson.
And, for 4 years straight, this guy invited me to church with him, to his youth group. And for 4 years, I just turned him down, made fun of him. Like, dude, let's not even talk about that. And at that time, I would have called myself an atheist.
Okay.
Later on in life, I realized I wasn't an atheist.
Yeah.
I was just mad at God. So he invites me to church for 4 years. It wasn't until my senior year, after just no, I finally looked at him and I said, "All right, Phil, I'm going to go to church with you this one time, just to show you how stupid you are." And
You're the
I
first.
thought I had the upper hand.
Yeah.
But it was a January night. It was in 2003, my senior year. And there was this overnighter at their youth event. We were playing Xbox. We were doing this, that, and the other. And it was the first time, though, I actually ever really heard the gospel. I heard Jesus' name. I heard God's name. But I never knew the gospel, what Jesus actually did for me.
Sure.
And why Jesus is so important. And so, for the first time ever, I heard it. And usually I would be repulsed or repel that.
Yeah.
Because, wait, what you're saying is I got to surrender. No, that's not going to happen. That wasn't me. But after hearing it, it broke me. Like, really broke me. And I remember on this cold, floor, middle of the night, January, and I'm crying and everything. But for once, I finally realized what I'm doing is stupid, and I need help. And knowing who Christ was at that time, as much as I could at that time, I fully gave my life over to Christ. That was my salvation.
Wow.
That was my
It's incredible.
born again. I have a new life in Christ.
What year was that, Jake?
That was in 2003, January of 2000.
January 9th, right?
January 9th.
Is that what you said?
No, it was a January night.
Oh, night. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
January 9th. I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea what night it was.
That's okay. I don't know mine either.
I know the month and year. That's about it.
Sure.
And,
Wow.
but as a babe in Christ at that point, there was a lot more I needed to learn, and I did the hard way. And I'll explain all that here in just a little bit. But 2003 was a really big year. It was a huge year. One, that's the year I came to know who Christ was. So, that was the beginning of the rest of my life.
Best day of your life.
Best day of my life. It truly was. It wasn't long after that. I also was baptized. And then I graduated high school that year, barely. And by the way, I did go back and check my high school transcripts. And I looked at my grade point average. I did graduate with a 1.55 GPA.
Whoa, that's impressive.
So children, it's possible.
It's impressive.
1.5.
You got to try to do
Yeah,
that.
I don't encourage that, though. I don't encourage that.
May not want to do that.
As a matter of fact, I didn't get my diploma until I was 27 because I had so many back fees. So that's a whole other story.
Oh, mercy. And I was bad, but
It was bad.
Was
yeah.
that a $3,000 fine to get your back fees?
It was a little more, actually. So, no, there's a whole other story. So, you used to do these fundraisers with candy and candles.
yeah.
And so what I would do is I would always take these boxes, and you're supposed to return the money. Well, instead, I kept the money, and it was drug money, it was this kind of money, it was whatever. But the thing is, the school kept giving me stuff.
Yeah, well,
That's on you.
That's
Like,
well,
hey,
there you go.
So
That's
they
a
enabled
hustler,
me.
free money for me, baby.
They just enabled me. And so yeah, January of 2003, I come to know who Christ is. I'm baptized. And May or June is graduation. But then I also, it's the same year that I also joined the military.
Whoa.
And so all within, 2003, so much life change is going on.
I'm in the Lord's army.
yeah.
Right. No, I did not join the Army, however, but I did
Yes.
join the Marines.
Marines.
And so
Semper Fidelis.
Semper
Yeah.
Fidelis.
Did not take the easy way out, sir.
No, but you know what?
did not.
For a knucklehead like me, I needed it because I really needed to be just broken. And I mean, when I came to know Christ, there was brokenness there, and I got to see it. And I got to acknowledge that. But then I think going into boot camp later that year, that the things that I wanted to hold on to, the lack of discipline and my own will, my own way, that's really when that started to get broken. So the Marine Corps really was in addition to the salvation, because I got to understand what does it mean to surrender and
That's
obey.
good. Ooh.
And
Wow.
I didn't realize or learn that till later,
Wow.
in life when I was older.
Sure.
But looking back, it's like, oh yeah, that the Marine Corps was definitely a wonderful addition to salvation, because it was then during the Marine Corps that I finally realized, okay, what it means to follow.
Did you realize after or during the process?
Oh, it wasn't until probably in my 30s.
I thought so.
Yeah.
It's pretty common,
I
right?
matured a
We
little
learned,
bit
oh my
more.
gosh, wow, you were working on me, God.
Big time.
Yeah.
In ways I couldn't even see or
Feel that.
acknowledge at the time. And so the Marine Corps was a wonderful thing for me. It was life-changing for me in more ways than one. And I grew in ways I never expected I would grow. And so the Marine Corps was the best thing that could have happened to me at that stage of my life. If I would have stayed here in Middletown, I wouldn't have made it that far in my 20s without either having a tombstone over me or being behind bars.
Yeah.
That's just where I was going. Those were the decisions I made, the people I hung with. It was bad. So the Marine Corps was truly the best thing for me. I got away from home. I lived in a completely other state. A whole huge life change of surrender, following orders, duty. It was what I needed. And it really helped me understand my walk with Christ in terms of surrender, following, having someone that's in charge of me and authority over me, which Christ is.
Yes.
Again, so it wasn't until later I'm like, okay, I know what salvation is. I know what it means for Jesus to be my Savior, but now I'm starting to understand what it means for him to be my Lord.
Yes.
And so the
amen
Marine
to
Corps
that.
really helped me in understanding that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So so that's my Middletown origin,
Yeah.
which I'm back in Middletown. And, the military really, it took me and my wife away from Ohio for a good 15 years.
15.
15 years. So 2003 to 2018. Yeah, 2018 was when we lived in North Carolina.
Okay.
And there's a 2-year stint in there where I lived in Bowling Green, Ohio. And we'll get to that part in a minute, because that was another life-changing year. Mm-hmm. So the Marine Corps really blessed me in ways that I don't think there were things out there that could. And when I say blessed, I mean there was a lot of me that had to die. There was a lot of me that had to be tested. There was a lot of me that had to just be like broken, still broken, because there's a lot of me that still wanted to live and take control. And so the Marine Corps, I was active duty infantry. It's the only way I wanted to go.
Wow.
By the way, that didn't provide me really any good real world skills when I got out. So if
Really?
you're thinking of doing military,
Infantry doesn't.
get a trade.
Infantry is not a trade.
Doesn't translate.
Well, it is a craft. It's a craft.
It's a craft. Okay.
It's a craft.
Okay.
Yes, it's a skilled craft. However, not one that'll help make you an income.
yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Legally. So
Legally, there you go.
So stepping into the grunt life, in the height of the Iraq War, I was able to go over to Iraq on 2 different occasions. once in 2005 for 7 months, and then once again in 2006 into 2007 for another 7 months. And so they were back-to-back deployments. That was kind of the operational tempo of the time. It was you were out for 7 months, back for 6 months, out for 7 months, back for 6 months, and it was just back and back and back. And so the operational tempo was extremely fast. And so, but it's funny, even though those two deployments were so close together, the elements and the dynamic of the deployments were completely different. They might as well have been a decade apart, just in terms of just the whole dynamic of the deployments. The first deployment, the whole focus was in 2005 that we were trying to push all these insurgents into Syria and either neutralize them or push them into Syria. And so it was a huge offensive type of deployment where the Marines were trying to really eradicate the terrorist presence, the Al-Qaeda presence. And so it was so kinetic and such large-scale operations of tanks and air and just everything you see in the movies. And I was like, oh, this is real. Oh, this is crazy. And so the first deployment was just completely large-scale offensive type stuff. Whereas the second deployment was more like you're immersed in these villages and towns, and you're operating out of these villages and towns. You're getting to know the villagers, and then the next day the villagers are trying to kill you. So it's so bizarre, the dynamic of these deployments. And so these two deployments, yes, they were very, very violent. They were very bloody. There was a high cost. A lot of friends were lost, and there was a lot of, trauma. There was a lot of how do I actually come home and actually, live a normal life and process things normally, not hold on to this, and so there's a lot of stuff that came about. I was exposed to some IED blasts as well that really took a toll on my brain, and one of the big ones was my balance, vestibular dysfunction. So a lot of damage in that area to the point to where I had to go through a lot of vestibular rehabilitation for my balance function. And it was, I didn't realize how much of an impact it had made until years later. And so very, very kinetic deployments, very violent deployments from house to house to large-scale operations, friends getting lost. It's just, just the whole gamut of guerrilla warfare. And
Jake, how old are you at your first deployment?
2005. I had just turned 20 years old.
20 years old. So, I
was a boy.
Yeah,
I was
20 years old. And then your last deployment would have been 21, 22?
I think I came home, returned. I was 22.
Yeah,
I had just turned 22 when I returned from my second deployment.
And so thinking about going back, you were like, oh, I think I know what it will be like, but it was totally different.
Unbelievably different.
Did you ever, just a thought here, okay, so did you ever, because of your deployment and then they'd send you home, were you ever deployed with any of the same people? Like from the first deployment to the second deployment?
Question.
That's actually a really good question. So yes and no. So usually you stay within your unit or battalion, whatever you want to call it, anywhere from 3 to 4 years. So the majority of the people that I deployed with the first deployment did remain in that unit, even for the second deployment. But then you had those people who were facing their 4 years and they were getting out or, re-enlisting and going somewhere else to another unit. So I'd say I probably went back with about 80% of who I went with in the first deployment, minus the ones who were casualties, of course. But then we also had, we would call them boot drops.
Okay.
So what these infantry units would get these boot drops. They just complete infantry training. And they get assigned to their infantry battalions. And so now we're going with a boot drop. That's what we call them, boots. And so you have a lot of your guys that you went with before, and then you also have these new guys that you're trying to train up in between this time to go and get ready for the next one. And so you only have a 6 to 8 month window usually, and a month and a half of that's taken up with leave. So really, you don't have a whole lot of time to get these guys prepared.
Wow.
And you're just a kid yourself.
So we're going to go to break here in a minute, and one of the things we're going to come back from break and talk about is PTS is real. We understand that. Soldier life, PTS comes with that. How I want to talk about, Jake, without going too far down the rabbit hole. I want to talk about how you were in those early days of deployment, how you found yourself having to receive information about friends' lives lost, and then kind of just in the war, in the moment, having to continue to go on. Because that, I think we forget, it's not the movies. It's like, it is coming at you full speed, and you are really first responder, but you're also soldier. And so we'll talk about that when we get back from break, Joe.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit about survivor guilt. I'm sure you experienced that. If we get time, we'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning in to the Triple Thread podcast. We are so grateful that you have spent the time to share this time with us. From Joe and I and our producer, Zach, and all that make this happen, we can't thank you enough. Also, shout out to Sandy Snowden. Wow, my assistant who keeps my life running well. Thank you so much, Sandy. Listen, if you want to learn more about community, all you have to do is type in realcommunityforyou.com. It's realcommunity, the number 4, the letter U.com, and you'll be shown some opportunities for you to be a part of community. On our website, not only the Triple Thread podcast, but a way that you can, if you feel that you'd like to be a part of this, a way that you can financially help us and support this, we would so greatly appreciate it. Another thing is, too, the Dirty Big Secret, a book that was written and published last year, is an opportunity for you to pick up my memoir. I believe it will encourage you, and it will take you to a place where you realize that community is such a part and a need for our life. So Dirty Big Secret is available. You can click that link to go to Orange Fraser Press, my publisher, and purchase that. It'll be mailed to you, or you can pick it up at a Baraka location near you. Thanks again for tuning in, listening, wherever you listen, Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening. Thank you so much. Let's get back to our podcast. We're back with Jake Ferguson. We're talking
Jake.
some heavy stuff about really war, and I don't think we can even understand or comprehend. I will just say this, Jake, before you take us to some of those kind of thoughts of how you early on kind of just internalized, externalized, and had to move on with real life and death. I will say this: you sustained, in my opinion, enough injury to warrant what is handed out as the Purple Heart. I would say, unfortunately, you didn't receive that for whatever reason. And I know that that's not something that you hang your head on every day, but I just want to acknowledge that your gifts to our armed forces and your gift to me as a citizen of the United States truly is it's an honor to be able to be with you, to do life with you, to serve with you, to pastor with you. And so thank you for your service and thank you for your sacrifice. Wow. So take us, if you will, Jake, into when you were having to see loss of life for friends and some of just those raw maybe emotions of early on. How were you working through that, and how were you just kind of stepping over that?
Yeah, let me just start off this way. Whether you're in law enforcement, fire, nursing, ER, trauma, military, you encounter human life just leaving before your eyes. There's an impact that's made on you. Yeah. And I don't know how, or even if we really process through it properly or healthy in the moment. But one thing I do know is something's going to happen in your body during something of that nature, where you're either you're just going to freeze up and just not know what to do. You're going to flee the situation, or you're going to buck up and, you're going to respond. And so, it's generally most people's responses, those three areas. Mm-hmm. But I'll say in the military, one of the things that, especially in the Marines, they really drive mental discipline more superior than physical discipline. The mental discipline aspect is, regardless if you got a buddy that just goes down right in front of you, you step over and you continue on until the threat is gone. That's it. And you don't think twice about it. Then you go back and you tend to wound it. So, it's one of those things, especially when in the first deployment, when we were really going in these large scale cities of doing house to house type of,
Sure.
Type of fighting. I mean, it wasn't just fighting from a distance. I mean, we were truly throwing a rocket into the front door. And then when we got to the front door, we were lobbing grenades down the hall. And then sometimes we'd have machine gunners enter into the walkway and then just, mow the hallway down just to make sure that before we go in, we should be okay. But then they fought in such a manner that they would burrow themselves under concrete and cover themselves with area rugs, so that even if you threw in grenades or gunfire, that they would be somewhat covered through the defilade in the floor. I'm telling you, the guerrilla warfare was pretty insane. They would electrocute the door handles so that when you try to touch the door handles, you get shocked. I mean, it was bad. And I mean, it's just looking back, it's just like, did that even really happen?
Wow.
Wow. And, there's, then, some of these houses, you go into and you're truly house to house, and they're so tight on each other, by the way.
Yeah.
That you can literally hop from rooftop to rooftop in a lot of these areas, or they're even connected and they're just divided by a wall. So a lot of times what we do in clearing these houses, we would enter into the first story, clear, go all the way up, and then get onto the rooftop, hop over to the
Parkour.
other.
Well, they call this sport, right?
Like pretty much parkour.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
100 pounds of gear.
Yeah.
And then in 120 degrees, and then we're on the rooftop. We hop over to the other rooftop, and then we clear downwards. Luckily, grenades follow gravity, so that was an easy way to clear. So I'm telling you, you just think back and you're like, did this really happen? And it does happen. And
Right.
when you deal with death, you deal with war, you deal with human life being taken.
Yeah.
And, your mind, the psyche is just, it's in a whole other place.
You getting angry?
No, not angry, but passionate. Like,
Yeah.
what I mean, like, alert, I guess. So,
Uber vigilant.
yeah, the blood's pumping a little bit.
Yeah,
but
a little bit.
You just talk about where human life is taken, whether enemy or friend. And when it's enemy casualty, it's one of those things where, okay, whatever, moving on, great, all right. But there's times when you clear houses and, your one man goes in, first guy in, and he's done, he's gone. And then next thing you got to do is, okay, more grenades, more gunfire. Then I'm going in. And we can't deal with him, our casualty, our friend, until the threat is neutralized inside of the house. And so it's, sometimes, you're done with the home, you're done with the house, and it's a macabre situation where you have multiple casualties, 2 dead, you're dragging people out, and then next thing you know, they're dropping mortars on you because they know where you're at. I mean, it's nonstop, and your brain is always working. It's almost like you don't really understand the loss, you don't understand the emotions, you really don't start to process until you're out of the chaos.
Dream sequence
Almost.
like?
It's very dreams. It's funny.
Wow.
They say that time slows when that happens. And I'll tell you, the way the Marine Corps trains you is they really place you under a lot of simulated stress as possible.
Okay.
And that slowing of time does seem to happen where decision-making can happen quickly in those kind of situations, but also to be numb to the situation so that the mission can still be carried out. So even if it's death, even if it's casualties or whatever have you, it's just, you really don't process it all until later. And then even later. And then more
Even
later.
later.
It's,
Yeah.
you never really stop processing it.
I was going to say, are you still processing?
I will always process it.
I assumed you would.
I'm at a place where it doesn't take me captive.
Okay.
It doesn't create. I'm not bound to it.
That's fair.
I'm affected by it, but I'm not by any means under its hold. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
And so, the violence in those deployments, the loss of friends, and just all the death and just smells and just all those things that go into it, those will be lifelong, and those will always be things that I'll always remember and so on. And I can understand where veterans today, they live in such a stage of being heightened and fearful, and just they don't trust, and they don't know how to take themselves out of where that heart and mind is and bring it to reality.
Yeah.
Like I get it, but it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And it's going to break you.
Yeah.
It will break you one way or another.
You talked about survivor guilt. Let's go there, Joe.
Love to hear it. Well, just, losing, I'm sure you lost some great friends.
Yeah, quite a few. So I think, across the deployments, there was a total of 56. that we lost. Just went to Arlington. 5 of my buddies were there. We got to visit their headstones, which
Oh,
was sweet.
wow.
It was sweet. I say sweet. Hear me when I say that. Like,
yeah.
like it's healthy to the soul to just go and reminisce and honor, and just be in a memoriam of your friends, and that's what I mean by sweet.
Yeah.
And then share those pictures with their family members, and to go back and just reminisce on those memories, and it's just an honor of them, you know. So that's what I mean by sweet.
Sure.
Sweet for the soul in that sense. But you know, you wonder, like, man, you know, I was supposed to be there, or you know, why did it have to happen to him? Or you start asking these questions, but then also eventually you stop and start to realize that at any moment it's just any of us.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you get numb to it,
Right.
but at the end of the day, you just accept the fact that, honestly, if any of us get back, then we're lucky.
Yeah.
You kind of get to that mindset.
Yeah. I can imagine.
And I think, I think the only biggest thing of survivor's guilt that I really ever experienced was I was a radio operator on my second deployment, and I was always walking with the lieutenant, and him and I are still good friends to this day, and Reagan Jones. And I just talked to him on the phone not too long ago.
Did he have a nickname?
We called him LT.
Did you have a nickname?
I did. Yes, I did. I had a call sign and nickname General because I thought that way, and
Wow.
and that was that was kind of, and you don't get to choose it; it's chosen
Of course
for you.
not.
Wow.
You know, it's always
I
chosen
didn't know
for
that.
you. You know,
Wow.
so it was General, and I don't think I ever lived up to it, but no, he was LT. That's who we always called him, or LT Jones, and we were on the rooftop, and I was sitting. And he was standing, his shoulders up right here against my head. I mean, just inches. And then all of a sudden we hear a shot break out. And, you know, we took some sniper fire, and we're like, oh, man, where did that hit? And all of a sudden he drops. My lieutenant just drops. And he's like, I'm hit. And I was like, where you hit? Like, what's going on? And he got hit in the arm, and it was right in level with my head. And I had an antenna sticking up. So machine gunners, medics, and radio operators are always the first to go.
Yeah, it's like,
And
shoot
so
me,
it's
right?
like, hey, yeah,
Right.
here,
Hello.
look at my
I'm the
10-foot
golf
antenna. Like, here, I'm your target.
Wow.
And I think, honestly, I think the shooter missed and hit my lieutenant in the arm because it was right there at my head. And him and I both we kind of laugh about it, like, oh, that definitely had my name on it. You know, I think that was the only, and it's not really survivor's guilt. It was like that bullet was mine. Like that one belonged to me, and he took it. And so that one I think probably impacted me the most. Like, I don't know. That one was a little weird. Like, no, that one had my name on it, but you ate it for me.
Yeah.
You know, and that was. But he came back in 10 days, so it was great.
Jake, you know, that kind of, I would call that aftermath. But if there was I mean, I'm sure at all moments you're like, okay, I could be dead. Okay, I could be dead. Okay, I could be dead.
Right.
But is there probably one moment that you were like, okay, is there one moment or that you could say multiple moments? Yeah. Like multiple moments.
That's
like I should be dead.
terrifying.
I should be dead. I should be dead. And yet not. You know, you said something and
A lot.
yeah, and you said something.
Yeah.
That bullet, what did you say?
Had my name on it.
Had my name on
Oh, it was mine.
But
It was
isn't
mine.
that a spiritual connection too?
Yeah.
When Jesus was there on the cross, right?
Yes.
That had my name on it.
Sure did.
Amen.
And what did he do? He laid his life down. And there's no greater love, you know, than a man who would lay down his life
For his friends.
for his friends. And you know, God protected you. You know, that's the beauty of the Lord. I mean, to see that God has a plan, even away from the battlefield.
Yeah.
Still, you know, even off of the quote real battlefield,
Right.
we are living
Oh,
day to day on a battlefield.
100%.
under attack.
Yeah,
We're
100%.
spiritually fighting
Yeah.
the enemy, and God would bring you safe and secure back, and then through a series of events, you happen to come back to Middletown, and how did that happen? I mean, and that was not a light thing that brought you back.
No, it wasn't. You know, it's interesting. You know, not knowing how to process and deal with certain things from, you know, wartime. I ended up going recruiting later on in 2012. And, you know, when you go into the recruiting realm in the military, you're alone, you're isolated, you're not around fellow brothers very often. It's very much an independent duty. And it really brought out the worst in terms of what I was struggling with, not even knowing I was struggling with things. And I stepped into recruiting duty with an addiction to painkillers because I had a dental surgery in 2010 that I started recognizing like, oh man, these painkillers are helping me with more than just dental pain. I feel normal. I feel regulated. I feel I can operate and function and just be normal.
Yeah.
And so that went on for a couple of years. No one knew. It was completely secret. My wife had no idea.
Wow.
Until 2012 on recruiting duty, when I decided to, out of desperation, seeking what it is I wanted, painkillers, I ended up forging a prescription for painkillers. And as you know, it's highly illegal.
Yeah.
And I got caught. Go figure.
First time?
Yes.
Yeah,
And,
good.
And it was the only time I
Okay.
learned on that one. And it was that day that I knew, oh my gosh, I have a problem. And I had to confess to my wife from the police station. And I got cuffed. I got brought out. I was in uniform. Oh, it was awful. Just like my day of salvation in 2003, that moment in 2012 was like, I am brought to nothing. Like I am nothing. But I needed it.
I was going to say, how much of a gift was that
Oh
day?
my gosh. That is probably
That
one
was a
of
grace day.
Yeah.
outside of salvation,
Yeah.
that was the greatest gift God ever gave me.
That was a grace
For
day.
me to be broken, for me to be forced to confess, and for me to actually get help.
Can't
And,
understand that if you don't have Jesus.
oh my goodness. And now at the time, it was horrible.
Sure. Of course.
I mean, it broke me. It broke my wife. She was devastated, of course. She never left me. She stuck by my side. She gave me the proverbial slap when I needed it, of course. But she was like, I'm not divorcing you. We're gonna get through this, and we're gonna get this right. And
Right.
she did. She was a rock star. And the military. You take 1,000 Marines who do that. 1,000 Marines are going to get dishonorably discharged. And I was that one Marine who I knew I had to go into it with complete honesty, no matter the consequence. 18 months in prison, 6 months in the brig, loss of rank, everything, dishonorable. I just confessed. I knew that I generally just have to tell the truth on everything. And so I did. I obeyed God in that.
Wow.
Nothing happened. I never got jail time. I never got dishonorably discharged. In fact, I got honorable. And instead of kicking me out, they sent me to Wounded Warrior Battalion in North Carolina so that I can actually get the treatment that I needed. And I was there for 2 years and ended up getting medically retired. So salvation in 2003.
Wow.
And then finally in 2012, it was like, okay, I know what it means for you to be my Lord now. I get it. I get it. Because here's why. I experienced grace and mercy like I've never experienced it. Because here's what I deserved. 18 months in prison, 6 months in the brig, all of this is lost, everything. But instead, that got withheld, and I got something I didn't deserve.
Grace.
Now I live in that.
Yeah.
Now I live in it.
Yeah.
I know God's grace. I know God's mercy. And that's how I live my life, out of that overflow.
How do you help others that are going through similar battles now?
Well, relating with them is and getting on their level and building that bridge, that common ground is always key. And I always want to listen first. I always want to just give an ear, let them talk, let them rant, let them vent.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of dive in with, okay, where are you struggling at? Where do you find yourself to be gripped by? And then I start talking about the hope that is in Him, Christ, and how I got to experience that. And let me tell you why. Yeah. And so I think really just listening and being vulnerable is so important to helping others, especially in those similar situations, whether it be trauma, whether it be addiction, whether it be broken families, backgrounds, whatever have you. I'm just going to listen to you for a little bit.
Yeah.
I just want to listen.
Yeah.
Let's build that bridge. And then let me show you exactly the hope that was able to rescue me.
Yeah.
And it's not always, welcome, but if you're going to build a bridge, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And then
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, it's but when people see like God did that in your life, I said, yeah, and I don't know why, but he did.
Yeah.
And let me show you how.
Yeah.
And it's been, since 2012, my whole life flipped upside down in the sense that my life pursuit is not on my wants, desires, addictions, struggles. It's now, okay, God's grace was far greater. I'm living out of that now.
Yeah.
So 2012 was that polar shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really was. And I had to learn the hard way. Go figure.
Right.
But I had to learn the hard way. But it was the greatest lesson I ever learned.
Yeah.
Because I haven't turned back.
Yeah.
I've made mistakes, but I'm not returning.
So good.
Yeah.
We're at our end of time. 30 seconds, Jake. How did God bring you back to Middletown? And 30 seconds.
So in 2017, I get a call from my dad. I was at work at another church in North Carolina. He said, "You're going to want to sit down for this." He informs me that my brother had passed away. He said he's on his way to my mom's house to notify her. They're divorced. She wasn't answering her phone. He goes to her place, knocks on the door. The big door's open, screen door's shut. He can see through it. He sees that she's lying unresponsive on the floor. 45 minutes later, after telling me my brother had died, he calls me again and says, "I don't know how to tell you this, but your mother has passed as well." Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So my wife and I always said that we would never move back to Ohio. Well, never say never, because God's going to laugh.
Yeah.
And about 6 months after that incident where my mom and brother died on the same day, we started noticing that God is truly pulling us back home to Ohio. And I looked at my wife one night and I said, "Do you think God's wanting us to go back home?" And she looked at me and she said, "Yeah, I think so." And we had never talked about it previously. Never. God was working in the both of us.
You're obedient.
And we didn't come home for Baraka. We were coming home. And then we were going to look for a church. It just so happened he didn't throw my resume away.
Almost. Almost wrinkled it up.
Hey, yeah.
And here we are, 2026.
It's amazing.
Almost doesn't count in what?
Horseshoes
the horseshoes
and
and
Hand grenades, right?
He knows hand grenades, not about
He
horseshoes.
knows
You just got to be
He
almost.
knows it. He
You're
knows
Almost.
it.
Close.
That's it.
But you know what? As we close this out, it's amazing to me that God does have a plan, and He's writing a story, and it's grace written all over it.
Yeah.
I already know the name of this episode. It's Semper Fidelis, and it really means always faithful. And God is always faithful, even when we follow a track. We've all been there, that we are running away or running amok. He is faithful. It's amazing what God's done in 7 years. I'll say this about Jacob Ferguson. Here's what I know. Here's a guy who had a 1.55 GPA in high school. Here's a guy who, go into his office and you'll see a pristine books. He's got more books in his office than any pastor on staff. He is an avid reader. He has a diploma from Liberty University. He got his master's of religious education.
Theology there.
So, and I learned something tonight about the general. And here's what I'll tell you about Jake. Jake is a student of God's word. He is a loyalist, and he knows who his Lord is. He is such an incredible part of this team. He's a Marine. He wades into messy things, and he gets the job done. He really brings completion to a very eclectic group of pastors. And he truly, man, here's the beauty of our community as pastors. He'll tell you, we like being with each other. Do we not?
Yeah, we do. We do.
And we're different. And we're so different.
You're different.
And we
So
don't
vastly
see-
you're different.
And
So vastly
we
different.
don't see eye to eye on everything, but the beauty of community,
Yeah.
and there's the opportunity, is that God has taken a bunch of misfits and put us together, and we get to
Motley
be
crew, yeah.
a pastoral team
Yeah.
together. So, Jake, thank you so much. Man, I love you, and I'm so grateful for you in my
Love you,
life.
Joey. Thank you.
Man, I'm grateful you're part of this team. I know if you're getting ready to go on a sabbatical, he's going to be doing that this summer, which we're excited about. So when this airs, you may have already come back, but we wish you well there, and we're just blessed. Thank you for serving our nation and our country, and thank you for serving our Lord. You may be the general, but you follow the King of Kings.
Oh, I do.
Joe, take us out.
Yeah, Jake, you're the first guest that we've had that I've actually spent some time with over some coffee. But today, you shared something really big for the guest, and that is our past does not define us.
Oh, no.
And through Christ, all things are possible.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Folks, if you enjoyed this, share, like, subscribe. Thanks for being here.
Hey, we'll see you.
Thank you.